Today we're going to be taking a look at what's on my phone, more specifically the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now this is one of the most requested videos I've had for my channel, so I'm just going to be taking you app by app through everything I have on my phone and why I have it. So starting off on the top left here, we have the stock calendar app. I personally really like it. It syncs well between my devices. I don't use it too in-depth. I'm not tracking all of my tasks and to-dos, but usually if I'm going to be away from my office, I'm going to log in and put it in my calendar. From there we have the stock weather app and Apple Maps. I don't know why people hate on Apple Maps so much. From there we have the settings app and then the notes app. I use the Notes app for a lot of my writing, both on my Mac and on my iPhone. It's a good way to keep to-do lists for groceries or my tasks. From there, I have an app called Weight Diary. It's a really good way to keep track and graph your weight progress. Some of you might not realize, a few years back, I lost 145 pounds. So since then, I've been weighing myself on a daily basis and like to keep track. After that, we have the regular Photos app. I just use the main camera roll. It seems like Apple keeps continuously trying to update and change it to be more intuitive and user-friendly. I've never caught on any of the updates. I catalog most of my actual photos in Lightroom, but I've got this on here. From there we have the Reddit app, and then we have Spotify. That is my streaming music app of choice. Side note with that, I do have a video music playlist in the description of all my videos, so check that out if you want to see some of the music I listen to and enjoy. A lot of it makes it into some of the videos that I play here. From there, I have an app called Pocket Casts. I like to keep my podcasts and music separately and kind of compartmentalized. The Pocket Cast app is far superior to the stock Apple Podcasts app in my experience. I'm not going to go through all the podcasts I listen to, but I'm just going to call out a few favorites here. Ear Biscuits from Rhett and Link, if you're a GMM watcher, is great. Mojo in the Morning is actually a Detroit morning radio show. They podcast their whole show every day. It's a good way for me to kind of keep track of my hometown news and keep up with things that are happening back in Michigan. I was born and raised there before I moved out to Portland a few years ago. Stuff You Should Know is another favorite of mine. I've been to like 3 of their live shows. Their podcast is amazing. Waveform, MKBHD's new podcast. The Tim Ferriss Show is another big favorite of mine. No Film School, for any other videographers or filmmakers out there, has a ton of great info. The H3 podcast, This Guy Edits, My Brother and Me, The Kevin Rose Show, all awesome. Let me know if you want to do a separate video just about the podcasts I enjoy, because I'm a big fan. From there we have YouTube Studio. This is just a good way for me to keep track of the channel analytics. This is also where I respond to most of the comments. So if you ever see this, it's usually me in the morning going through answering all your comments on my phone here. And then from there, I have the Safeway app. This just is a coupon app for Safeway. It's my close grocery store in town here. And the next row here is all of my social media apps. From left to right, we have TikTok. A lot of people don't realize my cat actually has a pretty big Instagram following. He's on TikTok, so if you want to see more of Wolfie, he's back over here. But yeah, he has a TikTok page with like 30,000 followers, so go check him out. And then we have Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, all self-explanatory there. I'm gonna skip over the folders for now, but from left to right on the bottom dock, I have the stock mail app. Best way to sync between my devices and my experience. And then we have the phone, text messages, and Safari. And from there, I have the rest of my apps divided into 4 different folders. From left to right here on the left, this one is just labeled miscellaneous. I have it kind of organized in the folder here, but this is almost the junk drawer of my phone, so to speak. We have the App Store, Yelp, my wallet, all of my different financial apps. And we have Coinbase, where I keep track of my crypto investments, Cash App, and Venmo. I use a lot for my freelancing, especially in my photography. Swiping over here, we have Google Maps. I use Apple Maps for most of my regular transportation, but Google Maps is a lot better for hiking trails and cycling. Then we have Lyft, Car2Go. Car2Go is a pay-by-the-minute car share service here in Portland and a few other cities around the country. And then I have 4 different scooter apps. I know that's a bit excessive, but All 4 are in town here in Portland, and it's just the easiest way to make sure I get the closest one to me. So that's Spin, Shared, Lime, and Bird. And then we have an app called Skiplagged, which I'd highly recommend if you've never heard of it. It's a way where you can find and track cheaper flights, a lot of connecting flights into major hub areas. You can just get off the plane early and it ends up being a cheaper flight than if you're flying to that layover destination directly. Swiping over here, we have Google Duo and FaceTime. I do a lot of this just because most of my friends and family live back in Michigan and I'm out here in Oregon, so FaceTiming with friends and family. And then we have an app called Oak, which is a breathing and meditation app made by Kevin Rose. Next up, we have geocaching. It's a worldwide scavenger hunt app where people hide things around all over the world and you can find them and log that you found them. I haven't used it much in the last couple of years, but it's a really great idea and it's a good free activity and it's a little bit more physically active as a form of entertainment, which I always love. And then from there, we have the health app. I don't use it too much other than to occasionally check and track my steps. So that's the first folder. The second folder I've labeled as media. It's just streaming and video things along with my games that I have. So we have Plex. That's a home server app. So I actually have a Mac Mini running a Plex server for all of my movies and TV shows here in my apartment. So it's a way to access it directly from my phone. Even if I'm not at home on my main network, I can watch and stream stuff like my own personal Netflix, essentially. Then we have Netflix, Prime Video, YouTube. Self-explanatory. Next up here is called Next Episode, and that's an app where you can track the TV shows that you watch for when they air. So upcoming seasons, if they're canceled or ended, when the episodes are. Because I don't have cable, it's a good way to keep track of all the shows that I watch. And then we have the main Apple Music app. I don't have Apple Music, but I do have some personal music, like actual physical files that I keep on here. And then 50 Radio, it's a police scanner app. Living in the city, there's always crazy stuff going on outside, so I like to keep track sometimes and try and figure out what's happening out in downtown Portland if I see something interesting. Swiping over here, I have an embarrassing amount of games. Most of these I don't really use unless I'm going on a long trip, but I have the space on my phone, so I usually just keep them locked and loaded in here. I've been playing the Kingdom Rush series, which I know is way old news, but it's newer to me. Been really liking that if you're into kind of tower defense games. The Mini Metro is a really great game if you've never played that. Next folder up here is just labeled photo and video. Pretty bare here, but it's the Sony app to control either of my cameras. Then I have Filmic Pro. Nothing too exciting there. Once they update that where you can use both of the camera lenses at once, I'm going to be very, very happy, but I'll let you know when that update comes, but it has not come yet. And then we have Lightroom Mobile. I do most of my photo editing on the computer, but it's nice to have this as a backup, especially with a lot of my phone photography. I'll just edit directly on my phone, but usually anything for my big cameras I'm putting on my computer and editing there, just because you have a little bit more control and it's easier to see on a bigger screen. Then the stock camera app and the stock voice memos app. Next and last folder is just labeled as business. It's all the apps I use for my different freelancing, photography, and videography business. Line 2 is an app where you can set up a secondary phone number, kind of similar to Google Voice, but this is a paid service. It's just a little bit more dependable because I have that phone number on my business cards and rely on it for a lot of business things. So it's the best option I've found. If anyone else has any recommendations though for kind of second phone line apps that they really like or would recommend, be sure to let me know down in the comments. And then from there I have the Square Appointments app. My cat photography business, people can book directly online, so that's where I manage all of my photography appointments. Then we have Squarespace Analytics for my websites, and then this one is called Unum. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's just a way to plan out your Instagram feed. Pretty self-explanatory. There's a ton of those apps. I don't necessarily endorse this one over the others. They all seem about the same to me. Then we have Patreon. This is where I kind of keep track of all my Patreon supporters and make posts and things there. Then I have MailChimp. That's where I host my monthly newsletter. Be sure to check that out if you haven't yet. It's just usually once a month you get something along the lines of what I'm watching or reading, or content I'm consuming that I would recommend for all of you. So sign up for that on my website, joshfenn.com, if you want to see that. It's been going for a couple of years and you can view all the old newsletters too. And then we have Invoice, is from Wave Apps. That's where I invoice all of my videography clients. It's been incredible. It's a free service. I just started using it a few months ago and just absolutely love it. So if you're a freelancer looking for a way to invoice things, Wave Apps, not a sponsor, but I wish it was. They're awesome. And then we have the main Squarespace website editor. And then we have Printful, is a print-on-demand service. That's where Wolfie's merch gets printed and shipped out to all of his fans. But that's everything. I like to stick to one page, keep it clean and simple. Be sure to let me know down in the comments if you have any recommendations for things or services you think are better than the ones I'm using. I'd love to hear about it, but thank you all so much for watching. Have a good one.